Morning. Happy coffee time. My favorite time of day, other than having to get out of bed, which I didn't really feel like doing this morning because I couldn't sleep last night. So insomnia is fun. Anyways, a couple nights ago, not last night, but I think the night before, I was reading a Kotaku recap of Sony's State of Play, which was this Wednesday. I missed it, so I was just kind of, okay, let's see what games were shown off. And I got to the paragraph on Five Nights at Freddy's security breach. And the paragraph said something along the lines of, turns out these games look a lot better when they're not made by some weird Christian dude. Which is a reference to Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, who was sort of forced out of his role making those games and being the sort of center of that community when his political donations were made public. He had donated to a lot of Republicans because he is a Republican and he is a Christian and he is a conservative. The big hullabaloo about this was that he donated to Trump and other conservative politicians who have anti-LGBTQ politics. Although I would say that Trump is really not anti-gay in any way. And as he said many times, the gays love him. But honestly, I will say, as far as American presidents go, Donald Trump was probably one of the more pro-gay rights presidents we've ever had. I mean, Barack Obama was anti-gay marriage when he was elected. And that was the president right before Trump, and Trump was fine with all of that. I think the worst thing Trump did in terms of like gay or trans rights was banning trans service members in the military, which is a complicated issue, but okay. But the controversy here is that Cawthon was seen as supporting politicians and politics that were anti-LGBTQ. And so even though he came forward and said that he was supporting these politicians for completely unrelated reasons and thought that their policies, probably, economic policies specifically, would help everyone in the country more. So he's kind of voting with his conscience, but also with his beliefs in economics and what he thought would help the country. Now, I'm not a Republican, and I think Republicans generally do a pretty bad job once they're elected to the White House and whatnot. I think just they talk a good game about budgets and then they just cut taxes and still grow the deficit, and I think it's hypocritical, but whatever. This is what Scott believed. This is what he believes. He voted based on his beliefs, and he came out very publicly in a statement and said this does not have to do with his feelings about gay people. He doesn't judge people based on their religion or their sexuality or their gender. Still, regardless of what he said, regardless of the horse's mouth, this was a huge controversy. He had to step down. He said, if I'm going to be canceled, okay, I'll be canceled. I don't want it to ruin the games, so I'll back off. And but so then in this piece in Kotaku about a weird Christian dude, I noticed this and I just thought, well, this is just like kicking someone when they're down, right? First of all, we shouldn't judge, we shouldn't say that a game's quality or visual quality is based on the religion of who made it, right? So I tweeted about this. I said, this is a very childish take, Kotaku, and I had a screenshot of that paragraph and the image and everything. And within 15 minutes, this had like 245 likes and like multiple retweets, and this is not normal for my Twitter. I am not, I don't have a huge Twitter following, and I don't get big, by the next morning it was thousands of likes and hundreds of retweets, and it's at something like 18,000 or something. So, and like, I don't know how many quote tweets and retweets, but a bunch, and it's drawn, a lot of criticism too, like lots of people saying, well, Christians are the dominant oppressive class, so they are fair game. Now, look, I think everyone's fair game when it comes to something like mockery and humor, right? If a comedian goes up on stage and makes fun of Christians, I'm not going to say, oh no, they made fun of Christians, because that's a comedian's job. They're supposed to make fun of people. They can make fun of Christians or trans people, gay people, straight people, white people, black people. Comedians, comics, they should be making fun of everyone, because I say comedy is a great leveler, right? It brings us all together. It puts us all in the same room together. We're all fair game. And that's great, right? But a journalist covering a video game live stream, I'm questioning the editorializing here, the assumption that because of this person's religious faith, their game looks worse than this new game that they're not directly involved with, though Cawthon still is involved with it. As an aside, I would say, does it really look better? I mean, the Security Breach game looks totally different. As a lot of people have pointed out, it looks kind of Fortnite-y. The original Five Nights at Freddy's games, which I'm not even, into that series, really. This is not... I have no dog in this fight in terms of the games themselves or the community. They are scary because they are so weird looking, because they are not, slick, because they're not, polished. They're sort of low rent looking, right? And that's part of the charm, right? That's part of what makes them kind of freaky. So this is a subjective take, first of all, saying that this looks better. But the problem is not that even that this article calls him a weird Christian or whatever. It's the assertion that because he is a weird Christian dude, his games look worse. Maybe he is a weird Christian dude. I don't know. I don't know this guy. And if he's a weird Christian dude, that's fine. But to say that because he's a weird Christian dude, his games look worse is a bigoted thing to say. If you said because he's an Orthodox Jew, his games look worse, or because he's a weird Muslim, or because he's a weird trans woman or something, it's like, for instance, Stephanie Sterling, formerly Jim Sterling, has gotten onto this and says his quote tweeted my tweet and said he is a weird Christian dude. Okay, fine, and Sterling is weird, and that's not an insult. That's fine. But if I said that something that Sterling did was bad because of who he was, because of his identity, because he's weird, because he's non-binary, or I'm forgetting how Sterling identifies now because I can't keep up with all of this. But if I said that would be bigoted of me. If I said that someone's work was bad because it was made by a woman, or made by a Korean, or made by a Buddhist. If I said that someone's work was bad because of who they are, that is a bigoted thing to say. And I'm not stepping in just to defend Christians or conservatives here. The reason I step in is because people on the left who preach tolerance and acceptance and a big tent of ideas and identities should be better than this. They should know better, and they should act better, and they shouldn't judge people based on things like religious belief, sexuality, race, gender, whatever, even if that is a white dude, even if it's someone like me, a cis, hetero, white male, who's not a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Christian. But I think it's important that we stop giving a free pass to people saying bigoted statements just because it targets groups that in game journalist land or in woke media land are acceptable targets, because that's still bigotry. So that's what I'm saying here. It's a childish take because it's judging someone based on their religion. It's saying that they can't make a good looking game because they're a Christian. And if we said that about any other group, there would be an uproar. And you can't just say, well, Christians are the dominant religion. Oh, poor Christians. You're just... No, it doesn't work that way. Bigotry is bigotry, It's just, this isn't even hard. We learn this stuff as a kid, and a person's a person no matter how small, right? Isn't that what Horton said when he heard the Who's? And it doesn't matter what religious belief you. It doesn't matter if you're part of the dominant strain. I mean, all of this is so contrived in so many ways. When people talk about white people, like, they can be talked about, and it's not racism, it's not bigotry. Well, white is just a construct, right? I mean, go back not even that long ago, and Irish people weren't even really considered white, right? Catholics were constantly shit on by the predominant Protestant, the WASPs or whatever. So things shift and change, but it's always it's this attitude, it's this mentality that's wrong. So that's why I said it's childish. I'm not on the Kotaku at all costs bandwagon. I think they've put out some great material in the past, but this just felt like a cheap shot and really kind of beneath what we should expect out of our journalism. So that's my take. I'll link to my tweet, my sort of biggest tweet ever, my most viralist tweet, I think. Although I don't really keep track. So anyways, check out my channel. I'm also giving away COD points, Call of Duty points. So there's a video for that with instructions if you're interested. And like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell if you want notifications. I'm trying to put out more content here. So I appreciate you watching and listening and having an open mind. Peace.